White. I am infusing caffeine. I came home from Spokane, Washington, where I had a Creating Calm meeting with Kimberly Burnham, who is part of the Creating Calm Publishing Company. And you know what? It was just a darn long flight. I rolled out of bed. I'm hoping that some of the bed marks get off my face as we start our show. And this is Notes from Spirit. Notes from Spirit with Nadya Rubin Schubert. Good morning, Nadya. Thank you for being with us today, because we didn't know if we were going to have the show due to my schedule.
Exactly. And it's so good to be here, and I'm so glad that you made it back. It seems like you're one of these really elongating, jet-setting people when something, you could have gone to Europe. You could have gone to probably South America somewhere.
That's what I said to Kimberly.
Get back and forth.
When she picked me off the plane, I think it was a 9-hour flight, because I had to connect with a 3-hour layover both ways. So I said, I must really care about seeing you in Spokane, because I could be in Paris now with all this fun.
Exactly. Well, the good thing is, maybe do you make more mileage on Southwest if you travel a longer time?
I think I picked up some miles on it. And the other thing is, there's just no easy way to get from Sheboygan to Spokane. So anyway, I have pulled myself out of bed. Bedhead is, you're going to deal with that. And we are going to do Notes from Spirit. And Nadya, this is yesterday's note. And once again, I think it's just really telling us the power of working with Spirit in our lives and giving us a meaning of what our lives mean. The things that unfold that look like little hiccups in our life are really major. So why don't you go ahead and do the reading, and then we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. Changing positions in life does not necessarily change who you are as a material being. For positions change daily, weekly, monthly, and even in a moment, as your life can change unexpectedly and not always for the highest good. Yet as we continue to connect with those who are interested in becoming more aware of who they truly are and what their longings are in their lives, we are always here to help you to choose what not only physically feels comfortable, for we can bring to you what is for your highest good, and many times what we see as a way of opening the doors to higher awareness may not be what you understand it to be. For doing all the right things according to your perception of right and wrong does not always make the perfect picture. And what you consider wrong in your terms of understanding is not always a negative aspect in your life. For we see things not in face value. We see layers beneath what is in front of you. We see what is all around you, all that connects with you at any given moment, and see these results of all that you endeavor to do before you even begin. Many times, nothing is what it seems to be, even though you are not able to see that. For things can change on a dime, as you say. You can make a left turn and find that what you thought was going to happen suddenly changes, and may think you should have made a right turn, for that must be better. And yet, all turns happen for a reason. There is always a connection to what you do and why you do it each and every day, as it is not only about the big picture or even the bigger picture. It is still all about where that part of the picture even started. The most tiny, insignificant part of that small part in your picture can be the catalyst that sets off your entire picture. As we have said, we can see your beginning, middle, and end of each day, and are always here to help you to move in a productive manner that will benefit not only yourself, it will benefit all those around you, for no one lives on an island unto themselves. If you begin to list all that you do in your day, all those who you come in contact with, and how you come in contact with them, how you respond to them, where you go in your day-to-day job, your errands, or satisfy what you are passionate about, and look at your list the next day, you too may see how that part of your big picture, that small piece of your puzzle, was either as a result of the day or days before, and may even be able to see how you will feel about what you want to do on your next day. How with this new awareness you may become more sensitive to your day and all those who come through it. allowing yourself to open as you walk through your day, enjoying the bits and pieces of warmth you are bringing to others and receive from others, as you are less abrupt and more compassionate with yourself as well as others, no longer needing to be closed down to feel as if you are protecting yourself, and having a greater desire to open, to allow Spirit to help you to become whole again, as you were at the instant you came into your world, enjoying all that came into your view, allowing your curiosity to lead you as you begin to explore your new world. Every day can be a new world of understanding, of being more aware, of being more sensitive, of giving of yourself to yourself first, and then those around you. For to give to others freely, you must begin to accept yourself and love who you are at this moment in time. And you will find your world to be full of joy, as what you will begin to pay forward comes back to you, feeding you with love and respect for all things. It is with that thought that we will leave you with today, and wish you a day filled with the courage to begin to open all those doors, one door at a time, that have been closed for so long, so that you may see the light of truth waiting for you to enter. And there's a particularly interesting line in here when it says something about that you're not even able to see before us on the side behind you, where things can change on a dime.
Yes.
And opening your doors to higher awareness may not be what you understand it to be. I mean, I wrote this writing. I looked at it for a few minutes just to see corrections, not necessarily the meaning, and not necessarily feeling it, and thought, okay, it's okay. And you found it to be the one that you would want on the show. And now that I'm reading it, see the interaction, I think I need, it says you're not an island to yourself. So I need to be interacting with another being for me to connect with what I write. Isn't that interesting?
That makes sense, yeah. Because in a sense, maybe Spirit has connected us, because Nadia and I also know that although we are friends, there was a method to our connection, that it was not a coincidence. We met for a purpose, and I oftentimes feel like I'm driven by Spirit to nudge her along, to say, keep writing, let's share. And so I think that's part of the dynamic that Spirit has set for you, because you are the scribe, but then by sharing it, your light comes on, your understanding comes on.
Yeah, that's when it happens.
Yeah. And this one I think we're going to call opening the doors, opening doors to your life, because think of all of the people who go through life just doing their job, their busyness, even if they're doing their passions, but they don't have that connection. And when you think of what the initial connection is, it was at the end when they said, allowing your curiosity to lead you as you begin to explore your new world. And I'm thinking, if you watch a new baby, or if you like watch a new puppy like Riley, they explore the world in a way of its magnificence, the wonder-filled world. And I think as we get older, we get cluttered, and we close down to that. We close those doors. And so I think that's one of the beginnings, or one of the pearls of this writing, is that by connecting with Spirit, we see the vast possibilities that are there for us.
And the richness. I think this hit home to me in one sense as I'm beginning to feel things from the writing. And that is, you know, when I met Peter and how ecstatically happy I was and how beautiful everything looked, just as if a baby, a newborn baby, his eyes wide open, staring at everything, not knowing what it is, but it's all brand new. And then as we get older, it's not being jaded, but you are in a sense jaded. You become familiar with the same thing over and over. It's nothing. How many new things can you learn by a certain age? You know, all that kind of thing. But you can, and even in a relationship, instead of having that ecstatic adrenaline going all the time, It becomes a richer, more gentle, deeper kind of thing if you let it. Instead of not paying attention to it, pay attention to it and feel the differences so that you can work with each other on a different level. I mean, it took me a while to get it on that level. I'm kind of a black and white person, I guess, where it's either going to be this or it's going to be that. And I'm learning to live in the gray and to be able to.
You're learning to live in the rainbow.
In the rainbow, yes, yes, yes.
And I'm going to come back to your life now and the joy that you have in your life now and with Peter, because I want to begin at the beginning. Amazing. But it says, as your life can change unexpectedly and not always for your highest good. And one of the jobs that I've had in my life is as a trauma chaplain. And what it taught is that in the blink of an eye, everything you know as your life can change. And one of the things, one other thing they say is many times things are not what they seem to be, and the most insignificant part of the small things in your picture can be the catalyst that sets off a whole new journey. And Nadya, and we both have these things in our life. There was a time that financially you were on top of the world, and then everything collapsed, everything changed. It didn't seem like it was your highest good. You probably thought your whole world just crumbled. And yet now when you look back, that was the catalyst that set up the movement. Okay, I'm going to freeze with spirit chills. That set up the movement for you to open your door to meet someone like Peter, who is very different from anyone you've ever known, and yet exactly what you need for this time. And it was the catalyst to get you from one coast of Florida to another, where you are creating now a very genuine life. So I thought that really tied into this reading. At the time you were going through it, you had no idea that was the step. Those were the steps to plummet you into this whole new journey of being very open and aware.
Mm-hmm. I think that they knew all along where I was, which I loved. I cannot say I did not love it. Really was almost going against my grain, so to speak, because I had to work very hard at keeping to who I was and not allowing other things to affect me. And it's funny because when you say that now, new people that I'm meeting, they'll always leave me a message about wonderful having dinner with you. You're just such a real person. Or another one will say, I love being with you as a couple because you just emanate truth and love. And I never heard that before. So I'm beginning to think, what is it we're putting out there? We're putting out who we are, and obviously who we are is the real deal, I guess people are seeing. But they have this need to say it. I thought that was very interesting. Right. And it's coming back more and more and more.
Right, because although your life before you were financially like on top of the world,
right,
and you were enjoying it, who's not going to enjoy the riches that you had and the things that money could buy? But you may not have been living an authentic life. You may have had a good life, but not authentic.
For me.
You weren't really, for you. And you weren't really connected to spirit. The spirit sort of joined you during that time. Or spirit's with us all the time. But you realized that you had spirit guides right around that time, didn't you?
I was, in a very odd way, able to meet a woman who brought me into this, Vicki White, who counsels people spiritually. She's a psychic connector, I call her. And she taught me how to connect with spirit in the way that she felt they wanted to connect with me. And that was through writing. But that all happened at a very sensitive moment of time. It happened within months of my husband's death. And within months of everything starting to turn around. I met her at a place that she should have never been at. It was at a party selling jewelry, and here she was. And as we were ready to go, my friends and I, she said, I hope that you're not thinking of leaving. And we just looked at each other and said, well, how would she know that? We didn't say anything. We were just thinking about it. And we stayed, and it started from there. But I really, truly believe, like I tell everybody, working with spirit every day for those first 3 years, which emanated in all these books that are here and waiting to go out. If they do, that would be wonderful. And if not, the first 2 I know are out. But working with them was my tether to that higher awareness vibration that kept me very much in sync very balanced in the world, not feeling sorry for myself, not feeling angry about my life, just writing every morning, and that set up my day for the rest of the day. It would be like taking a great yoga class, and I always tell people, that should be the drug of choice. Once you're through with your yoga class, your day is beautiful no matter what happens. You don't pay attention to the little nitty-gritty nothing things. So that's where I am. I think truly because I was working with Spirit, that this enabled me to not be a cripple mentally or emotionally.
Exactly. And it's available to all of us. And what they say is that they see they're with us every day, but by opening the door first to Spirit, and then we no longer need to feel, what do they say? You no longer need to feel closed down or feel as if we have to protect ourselves. So once we have the courage to open our door to our guides that will take us there, to allow Spirit to help you to become whole again. So it's really not about just understanding the Spirit connection, the fact that we do have guides. It's also about healing, becoming whole again, stepping into our authentic Spirit self, because as we know, we are spirit beings on this earthly journey. Then it says that we can have this curiosity and to then start giving freely to others. But we need to begin to accept and love ourselves at this moment. So it really is about, as they tell us over and over again, first for us, knowing that connection, loving ourselves, opening the door, and that, as you say, people are starting to see it in you, sharing it with others. They use the word paying it forward. I think they've picked that up from our vocabulary. Really gives us a very rich life. And I find that just inspirational that this is available to all of us for free.
For free. And you know, that is what you seem to do. You seem to close the doors around you when you're sad, when you're upset, when you have anxiety, and you think you're protecting yourself, but really there's really no protection, I think. And what Spirit is trying to do is to get you to open those doors and just feel what it feels like to work with the spark that lives within you, that connects you to Spirit, and just see the difference. I mean, just feel it. Allow yourself to feel what it is like to tune in to something of a higher way of thinking. And I'm not going to sit there, and tell you how to do it. I do say affirmations. I say my protection prayers, and I do certain things to make this start happening. But again, you need people. I think truly, you need people to help you guide yourself to that place. I mean, Vicki White.
No relation to me, but she was also my teacher that helped me organize all my spirit feelings so I could be more open to it.
And she would be the one too, I would think, if you want to learn, take lessons and how to do some of this work. She would be the one to call. She's also on my website, www.nadyaschubert.com. But it's someone that I think that would help most people begin. I mean, how long you stay with her is one thing, but you have to start somewhere. I don't know if you could do it by yourself. I think people are very intimidated by this sometimes. I did this and it didn't happen. Well, there are other ways to do it that you may not even know that she can help you with.
Right. It really happens for all of us in a very different way. Like, yeah. I love, and I'm an author, and I love that Nadya goes unconscious and then comes up with these wonderful writings that rock the world. But that's a gift, or that's a relationship that Nadya has with Spirit. That's her spirit guides. Some people go into meditations and have these beautiful either visions or guides or things like that. That's their way. For me, although I meditate to connect, Spirit then presents and guides, and if they use the word in other writings, gives me the knowing. And just an example, I flew out to Spokane this weekend, as I mentioned, and I went for a very different reason. I went to have a sacred ceremony. I'm also a rabbi, so I went out to do a ceremony there. And while I was in the bathroom, all of a sudden Spirit just downloaded a major change to the Creating Calm Network. And Kimberly is my partner on the publishing group. And the fact that I was there, I really think that's why I was there. It was the direction was to go out to do the sacred ceremony and everything. But I think Spirit guided this so I could do the other work that happened. because I had that knowing as soon as it came that I needed to be there to work with Kimberly to rechange a couple of things that are going to make a major difference to me. So sometimes Spirit will get you in a position, get you in a place, and then something very different. And if you're not aware to open your doors, you would miss it. If I just didn't, I thought, blew it away, I would have missed the opportunity, which I think is the real reason I was there.
And that usually happens to me when I don't want to do something. Yeah. You know, and when I kind of like, oh, this is going to be so boring, or, oh, why do I have to do this? You know, I just don't want to do this anymore, whatever. One last time. I mean, they don't give me any warning or any idea that something's going to happen, but it's when I get there, that wrong turn we think we made was not the wrong turn. It just was something that we couldn't see, but I'm thinking you're right, because they need you to get to a certain place, whether it's in, I'm not saying it's even a physical place. No, they need to get you to a certain place in your mind. Your mind was involved in what you were doing. The vibrations were very strong between the two of you, or three of you that were there. What you were doing, you loved to do, and you know, you were in a happy place. But I think that you were in a very maybe restful place at that moment in time.
I was actually in the bathroom, but go ahead.
Whatever. Well, I you know, that's my restful place. I think that, you know, or like when I'm driving and I'm not paying attention to anything, I will get this like epiphany. Like, and I'll sit there and browbeat myself all the way down the street instead of saying thank you. Why didn't I think of this yesterday? You know, if I would have thought of this yesterday, I could have done this. And I go through this, and then I stop and I say, you know what? Thank you for telling me this. I needed to know. I'm sorry I made a big issue about it. But I got it. I'm starting to get it. Now I'm starting to say thank you more often than not, which is a really good thing for me.
Right. Yeah, I think if we look to see what the takeaways would be from this reading, it's A, we are not alone. B, we have spirit guides who want only our highest good. And if you think how it must feel to be spirit trying to maneuver us around when we are busy and full of our own things that we're trying to do, it's not such an easy job for them. No. But they try to put, sometimes it's an obstacle. So when I get a series of obstacles, I think, okay, stop. You're trying to get my attention. And I kind of just relax to go with the flow, because I know they're trying to turn me in a different way. So it helps me to look at obstacles in a way of welcoming them as messages. It's sort of like, I think I have sort of like when your world falls apart, it's really spirit trying to open up a whole new creation, a whole new journey for you. So
I will tell you a very short story, because I know our time is coming to close. The situation with Peter is that he was released from his position. The company is having major financial problems. But the bigger picture is, all these months I have been meditating when I do and asking for only the highest good to come to Peter and to help him to not be so anxious and frustrated and uncertain and all these other emotional things that are starting to really get to him in many ways. And I kept saying that over and over, you know, please bring him something that he really needs to feed him, to bring him joy, to make him, to validate him, to whatever. All of a sudden, it all got taken away. I mean, this whole project he was working on, the job, and a couple of other things that he was doing with some other, all gone. And so I looked at him and I said, this is spirit working. You've got another 3 months or so, and something else is going to be coming through. I have a feeling within 3-4 months, something is building to come to you that you are going to love to do. Because he's not doing what he can do. He's more of a watcher of things. You know, he kind of like manages. It's not his thing. And he's not in control, because there's a lot of people working with this thing, not just him. So it's all this stuff. And it's really interesting, because an astrologer told me one thing about what's going on. Vicki told me another thing. And now here it is in this note of taking a turn that you might think is the wrong turn. That turn would be not to have this job anymore. That would be a wrong thing. But really, I think it's going to be a right thing. That's my own personal feeling. But all these times I've been asking, and here it is.
And I think that's exactly the point of this, is sometimes when, I mean, if one were to lose their job in this kind of economy, you think, oh, this is a terrible thing that happened. But when you're connected to spirit, then you say, okay, why? What next? And I am sure you're going to see something more wonderful on the horizon, and then you're going to look back and see that that was the pebble or the roadblock that started it. And again, in my life, I've had total collapses or things that look like failures. But in looking back, that was the turn that opened up for the marvelous journey that I was on. And it really changes your perspective on things. So, Nadya, I thought this was a brilliant reading that you brought to us, Spirit. Thank you very much for opening our eyes today. And I think I'm going to call this one, like I say, opening the doors, as we share it with those of us who are working with the Notes from Spirit group.
I like the last line.
Aha! I forgot that.
Line, one door at a time. Open all the doors one door at a time that have been closed for so long, so that you may see the light of truth waiting for you to enter.
Oh, I love
that. I will say good night, or goodbye, or good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you very much. And if you want to see more Notes from Spirit, you can go to http://notesfromspirit.creatingcalmnetwork.com, and there you can see all of Nadya's show and learn more about Nadya. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to go comb my hair and infuse more coffee and have a beautiful day with my spirit guides. Thanks, Nadya, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.